Last night in Miami, the Marlins lit up the Reds, and rookie righty Jacob Turner was dazzling with a hand from the Dobber. Tonight, it's back to work. Mark Burley brings his lunch pail and his cutter. And then he goes after Johnny Cueto, Cy Young Award candidate, and his circle change. It's the first place Reds and Miami's Marlins. And it's next.
Miami tonight, a Saturday night in downtown Marlins Park. We've shot AC on and baseball going on. Game 2 of a 3-game set. The Reds, one of the hottest teams in baseball, walked in here last night, and Jacob Turner shut them down. Marlins go for 2 in a row tonight. Hi, everyone. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. We were off last night, no television. Here's what you missed. Jacob Turner was outstanding for 7 innings. Heath Bell, Steve Cishek shut the door. Greg Dobbs hit a long home run, and Justin Ruggiano kept doing what Justin Ruggiano has done ever since he showed up here.
You know, and just like that, you win 4-0. That's how you do that. But Ruggiano certainly contributed, as he has ever since he's become a Miami Marlin. He has had extra base hits. He's contributed with home runs. He seems to get clutch base hits a lot. He's hit lefties. He's hit righties. We've talked about the way he's played defense. He's won some games with his defense. He's won some games with his wheels, with some speed. 13 stolen bases. All in all, this has been a great year for Justin Ruggiano. The first time he's ever had a chance to play on pretty much an everyday basis.
And if he can finish September strong, that'll be 4 solid months in the big leagues headed towards 2013. The pitching matchup in this one is really intriguing. You've got Johnny Cueto on one hand, a Cy Young Award candidate, and you've got Mark Burley on the other hand, trying to get himself to that milestone of 200 innings.
Yeah, Burley a little over 180 innings right now. Could have 4 more starts if Ozzie starts him the last day of the season. Cueto in quest of a Cy Young, also in quest of his 18th win. And this time of year, we've been told Cueto seems to wear down a little bit. The last few Septembers, he's not been as strong as he has been early in the year.
You're right, he has lost his last 2 starts. Mark Burley, well, he's been consistent from day one. In fact, day one for him as a Marlin was against these Reds.
happening right now. Let's head out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Gentlemen.
Well, thank you very much, Rich. Good evening again, everybody. It's been a pleasure to not only watch Mark Buehrle, but get to know him a bit. Consummate professional and a guy who, no matter what the team record is, he has a goal every year to throw 200 innings. And by hook or by crook, I think he's going to get it again this year.
It looks as if he is 180 with 4 starts to go. Four starts to go. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think he's going to do it. You look at the names on this list: Dan Hare, Justin Verlander, Roy Halladay. The next guy in second place is still 4 seasons away, and he's not even going to do it this year. So you got to go down to Verlander at 6. So Mark Buehrle been an absolute consummate professional, like you've said, the most consistent guy over the big leagues in the last probably 10 or 12 years. 12 straight 10-win seasons, and going for his 12th straight 200-inning season as well.
The Marlins have reworked the rotation, so Buehrle could pitch the last game of the season, which is on October 3rd. That would be that 4th start. Prior to this, going to this 6-man rotation, it looked like he'd only get 3 starts, which would mean he'd need just about 7 innings a pop, a little less than that, to get to the 200. Now it looks like they're going to give him 4 starts just in case he does a 6 and a 5 or 6, just to get to that 200. But it's Buehrle who's been pushing the issue here. And Ozzie Guillen can't figure it out, other than he knows he has a great competitor on his side.
Well, a great competitor, and I think Ozzie will let him go a little bit deeper into games than he might normally not if the Marlins would be in contention right now.
All right, we'll see. Reds-Marlins, a real exciting game 1 here last night. The overall season set is at 2 apiece so far, with 2 more games to go. Johnny Cueto will go for his 18th win of the season. Buehrle goes for his 13th. We'll have it for you. We'll see you on the postgame. Fox Sports Morning.
Is brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Papa John's. For $10, get Papa John's Buffalo Chicken Pizza, or for $2 more, get any large pizza. Mark Buehrle on the mound. Marlins Reds game 2. The Marlins and the Reds met way back in early April. Games 2 through 5. Buehrle threw game 2. Pitch a penny bringing you the first pitch. In that ball game, the Marlins lost 4-0. Buehrle actually pitched well in that game. 6 innings, gave up just 2 runs.
Yeah, he actually matched up against Johnny Cueto as well.
Those are the season numbers. Start number 29. Brandon Phillips Checks his swing on a pitch that's inside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Up and down the Reds lineup, there are guys that had 0-fers last night, and Jacob Turner scattering just 2 hits in 7 innings. The reason why. Phillips 0 for 4. He's followed by Wilson Valdez and then Joey Votto. For a Reds team that has run away with the National League Central, the Reds lead is 11 games. Their magic number to the postseason is just 6.
It's a lineup, too, Rich, that's filled with veteran guys, a very typical Dusty Baker type lineup. Dusty in his 19th season as a manager, of course, all those years with San Francisco, then with the Cubs. But you have veteran guys like a Brandon Phillips. Joey Votto falls into that category now. Even Jay Bruce, Scott Rowland, of course. So those are the kind of players Dusty Baker, over his long tenure as a manager, has always liked.
Dusty always a fashion plate, got the cool-looking glasses on. The wristbands, that's another trademark. The toothpick.
He's in game mode. He's got his game face on right now.
He's one of the most enjoyable managers in all of baseball to just talk baseball with. He's old school. You know, a guy that in his playing career had the great run with the Dodgers and with the Atlanta Braves. He was there for the historic Henry Aaron home run in Atlanta. 1-2. Burley working on Phillips. The 1-2 pitch. And it's up and in. 2-2. Phillips has really provided a ton of pop. Versatile. You can hit him almost anywhere in the lineup. Smacks that one into center. Ruggiano a step back and now in, and he makes the catch. But Dusty's got Phillips in the leadoff spot. Right behind him, he's got Wilson Valdez. Joey Votto is back. Ryan Ludwig has had a very nice second half and played well when Votto was out. Jay Bruce in right. Scott Rowland returns at third base. The speedy Drew Stubbs is in center. Ryan Hannigan has had a very good defensive year behind the plate. Johnny Cueto hits 9th. And here is Valdez. Reds have a couple of Rookie of the Year candidates, and neither are in the lineup tonight. Zach Cozart, their shortstop, whom they feel they'll get back in the next week or so, and Todd Frazier, a guy that came up and played very well in the absence of Votto.
Yeah, the Reds will be home. They play the Dodgers next weekend in Cincinnati. Dusty Baker told us that's when he expects to get Cozart back.
Burley's 2-1 pitch, and it misses down low. So he's gone 3-1. Not a lot of 3-ball counts when Mark Burley pitches. And there's a look at Votto. Liner into left center field. Valdez is aboard. Ruggiano cuts it off. And the Reds have a base runner in front of Votto. Miami's defense tonight.
It's a defense that we've seen a number of games with Peterson, Ruggiano, and Stanton in that outfield. Dobbs with a nice night last night. Reyes, Solano, and El Caballo back in the lineup. Rob Brantley, boy, he's just been terrific behind the plate. Back there once again handling the veteran Mark Burley. Kind of an interesting switch. Rob Brantley handling Jacob Turner and did a great job last night. Now he gets the veteran, a completely different type pitcher tonight.
Votto, the arthroscopic knee surgery kept him out for a while. He drives that one in the gap, right center field. Long run. Stanton is there, and Giancarlo runs it down. On the warning track, a long ways away from home plate in Cincinnati. That's about 10 or 15 rows up.
There are a lot of balls that I'm sure the Reds players have hit where they have thought, boy, if I was back in Cincinnati, a great American ballpark. But just a long out here.
Here is Ryan Ludwig. Ludwig, 0 for 2 last night, but look at the numbers, the home runs, the RBIs. This is a guy that has kind of revived his career. And for the Reds, especially important that revival happened when Joey Votto was out with his knee surgery.
Well, they had 3 guys, Ludwig, Jay Bruce, and Todd Frazier, the rookie, all stepped it up when Votto was out.
Burley, of course, has the good move, and Valdez dances back. And for Ludwig, it has been well documented. He feels that his swing and his numbers have come back after escaping San Diego. Here's the 1-0. San Diego's a great place to live. It's often voted as the most livable city in the country.
And a great place to pitch.
But Ludwig felt that playing at Petco did some odd things to his swing. He became so pull conscious because right center field is so hard to hit it out as a right-handed hitter that it's taken him almost a year and a half to get back to driving the ball to right center field.
And you know what, Rich? He's also happy to be reunited with Walt Jocketty, who had him in St. Louis.
Now that's where he had maybe his biggest year in the big leagues, swing and a miss at a fastball, and it's 1-2. He was an all-star that year. 37 homers, 40 doubles, drove in 113 runs.
It's amazing how a ballpark, and people might wonder how a ballpark can get into a hitter's head. And I think there are a few hitters with the Marlins that have to be careful of this ballpark getting into their heads.
I think one of the things that this ballpark has that separates it from, say, Seattle or San Diego, those ballparks are big not because of dimensions but because of atmosphere. Here you've got a very fast infield and a very fast outfield.
And with the roof closed, the atmosphere is the same.
So what you might lose in terms of deep fly balls, you'll pick up with sharp ground balls that get to the infield or line drives that scoot through the outfield for doubles and triples. Burley's already thrown 18 pitches. We're used to seeing Mark Burley throw 18 pitches in 2 innings.
Yeah, this is an un-Burley-like inning with the number of pitches that he's thrown.
Saw Jay Bruce waiting on deck. Just underway. Miami and Cincinnati. And a foul tip into the glove of Brantley. He holds it. Burley strikes out Ludwig. Marlins get their first look at Johnny Cueto. Marlins. As the Fish go after Johnny Cueto, here is Ozzie Guillen's lineup. 64 and 81 are the Marlins. Brian Peterson in left field. Justin Ruggiano, a couple hits last night. Jose Reyes at short. Giancarlo Stanton in the cleanup spot. Carlos Lee at first base. Greg Dobbs homered last night. Donovan Solano's been very steady at second base. The rookie Rob Brantley's up to 311 now, and Mark Burley hits ninth.
Yeah, the first of Johnny Cueto's 17 wins was back on April 5th against Mark Burley. It was a 4-0 win for the Reds, and Cueto went 7 innings, gave up just 3 hits and no runs.
And he's been winning games since. Cueto throws a strike. Brian Peterson 1 for 4 last night. Peterson's numbers up to 223, and that's a testament to the work that he's done over the last month and a half.
If you've never seen Johnny Cueto before as a hitter, you have to make sure that kind of turn that he gives you when he shows you his back, shows you his number. You don't want to get locked in on that. You want to pick up the ball.
Cueto, his former teammate Edinson Volquez, were both nicknamed Little Pedro when they were growing up in the Dominican Republic, and of course that was the time that Pedro Martinez was dominating hitters at the big league level on his way to what probably will be a Hall of Fame career.
Well, Cueto himself 5'10", about 220, so he's built a little thicker than Pedro Martinez.
The thing they all share in common is that really good circle changeup. Peterson pops that one out towards Ludwig, and he makes the catch.
Let's take a look at the scouting report on Johnny Cueto, 26-year-old right-hander. He builds everything around his fastball and has that great changeup. Be careful at first base. Quick spin move over there, and all that brought to you by Coventry Healthcare.
Justin Ruggiano now. Ruggiano a 2 for 3 night last night, a double. And Cueto misses down low. Of course, Cueto's name, and if you watch Marlins Live, you saw the discussion from Craig and Jeff Conine about Cy Young Award candidates, and Cueto's name is front and center in those discussions as well.
Well, you got to think about Cueto and R.A. Dickey.
Cueto's 2-1 pitch. Tapper down the third base line, foul. Well, the other day we were talking about Cy Young Awards, and I wondered out loud, when's the last time a Cincinnati Reds pitcher won a Cy Young Award? It's never happened.
And by the way, let's not forget Gio Gonzalez in that conversation as well.
By all means. Cueto steps off, 2-2 to Ruggiano. I think Gio Gonzalez has just as good a chance to win it as anyone. Up the middle, Ruggiano just keeps on hitting. A 1-out single against Cueto. And with Reyes coming up, we take a look at a very good Cincinnati defense.
Yeah, very good defense it is. They're third in the National League. They've committed just 79 errors. Ludwig Stubbs has tremendous speed in center. Bruce in right. Roland, the many-time Gold Glover. Wilson Valdez. Phillips. Wilson Phillips up the middle, actually. Joey Votto at first, and Ryan Hannigan behind the plate.
They've reunited.
It's a revival tour.
Here's Reyes now. Roland looking bunt. And Reyes takes a strike. Champ Fairchild calling balls and strikes. Alfonso Marquez, Tom Hallion, and Brian O'Nora. The crew tonight in Miami. Scoreless ball game just underway, bottom first. Hannigan, a very good catch and throw guy behind the plate. He's thrown out 42% of would-be base stealers this year. That's exceedingly high in the big leagues.
Just a part of their ball club that you kind of forget about, their defense, the job that Hannigan, the veteran, has done.
High fastball. Cueto uncorks one, and Hannigan had to go up in spirit. It counts 1-2. Cueto is 26, and the Reds have signed him to a contract through the year 2015.
One of the things, Rich, they're really being careful in is watching Johnny Cueto here in the month of September. He's 0-2 as an ERA over 6.
Reyes bloops that one into left center field, and it falls for a base hit. Ruggiano will stop at second. And Miami's got a couple of hits now, and that'll bring Giancarlo Stanton to the plate.
Now, that 0-2 this September would mean one thing, but the other thing is that historically he's always kind of worn down a little bit the last month of the season, so they want him healthy and ready to go. Just out of the reach of the shortstop, Wilson Valdez. And Jose Reyes picks up a base hit. Here comes Giancarlo.
And that's part of the discussion for teams heading to the postseason. You can line up the teams and look at the rotations, but you also have to take a look at who's throwing well, who's fresh, and who's scuffling. And Cueto right now in his last 2 starts has not been sharp.
And then you go over to the Atlanta Braves, and you have Chris Medlin, who's pitching like a Cy Young Award winner.
0-1 count. And Cueto misses down low. You even go back into his last start in August. He gave up 2 runs against Arizona. That a good start. But the 4 runs against the Phillies and just 4 innings against the Astros.
And ideally, you want that hot hand in your rotation.
Stanton with a swing and a miss, especially in the division series, because it's a 5-game series, and if you start your hot hand in game 1, you can bring him back depending on the schedule, either in game 4 or game 5.
Yeah, and Cueto's the guy that they want to start in that game 1 if he's pitching well.
There's his 1-2. Stanton drives it down the right field line. That's deep, and it is off the base of the wall. Ruggiano will score. Here comes Reyes coming to the plate. He's going to score. Stanton on his way to third, and he gets there. Brandon Phillips hesitated with the ball, and Stanton never stopped at second. And it's 2-0 Miami.
Boy, this is the kind of swing you love to see from Giancarlo. Stay back, drive that ball the other way, which he did. Don't let this ballpark affect him. He can hit a ball out to right field as well as anybody. Finds that corner and picks up 2 big runs. Good job by Joe Espada directing traffic. He has a couple of runners to deal with, and then Stanton gets to third base on what could be ruled a double. It could be ruled a triple. We'll have to wait and see.
But it certainly will be ruled an RBI opportunity for Carlos Lee, who comes up here now with a runner at third and just 1 out. You can see the remnants of a shiner below that right eye. That was Carlos Lee's crash landing at second base on that rundown play last night. Infield's in. And Cueto catches a corner for a strike.
And because of El Caballo's time with Houston in that Central Division, a lot of at-bats, 7 for 22, a good average, a couple of home runs against Cueto.
Lee drives it right field on a line. Bruce has got a good arm. Stanton's coming. Here's the throw. He is safe. He got around the tag. How about that? Three nothing.
You knew this was going to be close when it went out to right field because you know Bruce has a strong arm. He has momentum going to the plate. His throw's a one-hopper, but a little bit up the line. Hannigan has to reach and go for it. Stanton sees him do that, comes around him and touches the plate with his hand. Great reactions by Giancarlo.
So there's 2 outs, and here is Dobbs. And Lee, as he's done ever since he put a Marlin uniform on, right around the All-Star break, has driven in another run. 70 RBIs now for Lee. Dobbs 2 hits, including a home run last night. He swings and misses. It's 0-2.
Boy, Dobbs hit one of the longer home runs that he's hit all year, the one he hit last night.
This was last night. This is what happens when you hang something over the plate.
Yeah, we like to call this that frisbee slider. There it is, belt high. Dobbs took it into that home run porch.
Little dribbler up the line. Hannigan has it and throws Dobbs out. But Miami jumps on Johnny Cueto for 3 runs in the first and a 3-0 lead. Tonight inside Marlins Park, and it's brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Lively crowd last night on a Friday night, and those that are here tonight, Coventry Healthcare second inning, saw the Marlins get 3 in the first. Giancarlo Stanton, a big reason why. A 2-run triple and then a nifty matrix-type slide around Ryan Hannigan on the Carlos Lee sacrifice fly. Jay Bruce, Scott Rowland, Drew Stubbs for the Redlegs of Cincinnati. And Burley bounces one off the plate. The Reds and the Marlins probably coming close to a Major League record for most time spent apart for National League opponents.
Yeah, without question.
Game 1 for the Marlins, of course, was opening this brand new ballpark. and it was against the Cardinals. It was just one game. Then the Marlins went to Cincinnati, struck him out inside corner, and the Marlins and the Reds had opening day in Cincinnati. And that's the last time the Marlins saw him. It was just a 3-game series in Cincinnati in early April. There's Cueto striking out Chris Coughlin along with Giancarlo Stanton.
Who would have thought at the time, Rich, that these two clubs would be where they are in the standings? Cincinnati, we hardly got to know you.
Scott Rowland.
We know him, though. By the way, Jay Bruce, with that strikeout, is now 0 for his last 18.
You saw in the highlight, he hit a long home run in that ball game in early April. One that banged almost up the very, very top of that batter's eye in Cincinnati. 1-2 from Burley to Rowland. Jammed him. Pop up. Lee's after it. Brantley as well. And it's Lee that settles under it and makes the catch. 2 outs here in the second. In the Marlins all-you-can-eat seats, you get a game ticket, unlimited hot dogs, nachos, peanuts, popcorn, soda, and water for just $24. The next all-you-can-eat game is coming up on Monday, September 17th. Marlins and Braves, 7:10. You can order your all-you-can-eat seats online at marlins.com. Marlins and Braves, a 3-game series. If you're thinking about coming out to see the Braves and you want to be there the night that the Marlins honor Chipper Jones, that is scheduled to occur on Wednesday.
That'd be a nice night, and certainly a nice gesture. A lot of clubs are doing it as the Braves make their trek around the league.
Breaking ball to Drew Stubbs. Now Burley is in a familiar groove. He labored through the first and carves up Stubbs to finish off the second. Miami has given Mark Burley a 3-0 lead, and he goes out in the second, goes 1-2-3 through the Reds.
Healthcare of Florida.
Into the bottom of the second, Donovan Solano, Rob Brantley, and Mark Burley. Yep, 3-0. Miami getting 3 runs in the bottom of the first against Cy Young Award candidate Johnny Cueto. I think if the Cy Young Award candidates were to campaign like the presidential candidates, Johnny Cueto would probably run with the platform of, hey, I got to pitch half my season in Cincinnati. Brandon Phillips knocks it down, and the perennial Gold Glover throws to first, which is a terrific hitter's park, a homer haven. And for Cueto to walk in here with a 2.71 ERA is really saying something.
Yeah, that ERA for Cueto, third in the league. R.A. Dickey at 2.68, so that he's not that much far ahead of him. There's the look at the top three. Clayton Kershaw doesn't have enough wins to get in the conversation yet, even though he's had a solid year.
Rob Brantley hammers one right field. That one's up against the wall. And the rookie catcher's on his way to second, and he's in there with a double.
Wow.
With every at-bat you see from Brantley, you just see improvement. 6 doubles already, his average over 300. Even hitting in the 8th spot, which in the National League is not easy. He's been effective.
Boy, that's a beautiful swing. It's a 7-game hitting streak, 9 for his last 20 during that time. And he's impressed others that have watched him. The other team's announcers will come up to us. They'll talk about his swing. And that was a great look at his swing on that 2-base hit.
Burley now. Marlins can do a couple things here. They can try to bunt Brantley to third, even though there would be 2 outs. Or give Burley a shot at swinging and trying to knock one to the outfield. Of course, Cueto has to throw a strike. Cueto looking into the Reds dugout. About what, I'm not quite sure. Dusty Baker and Brian Price, the pitching coach, nobody making any motions. And there's a knee-high fastball at 95 miles an hour.
Well, his earned run average since the All-Star break, second half of the season, is about a run higher than it was the first half of the season.
Burley pops it foul and out of play. Well, remember, the Marlins and the Reds were linked in the discussion of teams that had used only 5 starters. And so the Reds starting rotation has been very, very durable. Now, that ended for the Marlins long before it ended for the Reds. The reason it ended for the Reds is they had a doubleheader, and they brought up Todd Redmond, who made his major league debut as a 6th starter. That remains the only game started outside of the original 5 for the Reds.
And the only reason it ended for the Marlins was when Nathan Eovaldi came aboard and Anibal Sanchez was sent to Detroit. I think the great note on that is that the last time that a team went through an entire season where they used just 5 starters was quite a few years ago with the Seattle Mariners. And the interesting thing about that, the Seattle Mariners pitching coach was Brian Price, and he's the Cincinnati pitching coach now. At early 90s or mid 90s?
That would be late 90s.
Or late 90s.
Late 90s.
But it was a while ago. It isn't done all that often.
Peterson swings and misses. Price is one of those guys that is considered one of the top pitching coaches in the game. There's a look at him. And is also considered a managerial candidate along the lines of a Bud Black or a John Farrell. You don't see too many ex-pitchers managing.
Watching Cueto, he hasn't gotten in that mode. We talked about how he pitches off that fastball. He hasn't gotten in the groove where he uses the fastball and then puts a hitter away with the changeup.
Brantley still at second. 1-1 pitch. Peterson takes outside. We talked about Peterson's resurgence. I think getting everyday playing time has really helped him. Since the 5th of September, his average at 345. And a swing and a miss.
For me, by the way, where the conversation ends when you look at complete games and shutouts, it's R.A. Dickey. So it depends on how the Cy Young voters look at those things. Dickey with 5 complete games. Cueto has just 2. Cueto does not have a shutout. R.A. Dickey has 3.
So, is that what you're saying, that if you were to file your vote right now, it would be for R.A. Dickey?
Yes, yes. Gio Gonzalez, as good as he's pitched, you don't see his name in the complete game or shutout column. Kershaw's, man, he's put together a good year, but just 12 wins. And I think in a year where you have guys who could win 20, that might not be enough.
The 2-2.
And then the tough call will be if, let's say, Gio Gonzalez gets 20 wins or 21, and the other two, Cueto and Dickey, don't, but have better numbers in other areas, then that really kind of mixes it up a little bit.
Well, Peterson has run the count full now at 3-2. Brantley a big lead at second. And Cueto spins and turns. Would you like to see that move outlawed? There's talk about outlawing the phantom spin. And
I don't know. I can see the phantom to first base or to third base, but I don't know about that. It keeps you honest as a base runner.
He lost him. So Cueto walks Brian Peterson, and here comes Ruggiano. First and second, 2 outs. The legal portion of our telecast, this copyrighted telecast, is presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
You know, Rich, I think we had this as one of our email Twitter questions last week. I was watching another telecast the other day, actually, the Chicago Cubs, and Len Casper has pre-recorded his as well. So I think you need to work that in.
Well, that's right. Here's the pitch, and Ruggiano takes the strike. On that email Twitter Tuesday, the viewer pointed out that the Rays have theirs pre-recorded and all gussied up, and yet we do it the old-fashioned way, sort of like a hand-operated scoreboard. Fastball in.
So the Cubs kind of going against things with the old scoreboard they have, yet having the pre-recorded
new age disclaimer. What you're looking for is the diamond vision of disclaimers.
Yeah.
Here's the 1-1. Ruggiano fouls it back to the screen. I've always felt that you should have do it coming out of spring training. Just record all 25 players reading the disclaimer. Play it and see if people can figure out which player is the guy reading the disclaimer.
It's a good idea. I think you'd have a contest toward the end, who does it the best. Could be a good poll question. We never stop thinking of ideas.
No, especially when the ball club's 64-81 and it's September 15th. Cueto, 1-2 to Ruggiano, and I think Cueto is miffed a bit that Brantley is getting such an aggressive lead. Plus, he also knows there's a catcher at second base who, even though he's a rookie, has a pretty good idea of pitch sequence and signs.
Well, I like the fact that Brantley is getting a real nice lead. We talk about that a lot. When you don't have Bonifacio speed, you do as much as you can, because it could mean the difference in scoring a run or being thrown out at the plate. So he's doing his best to get a terrific lead out there. I like that.
Peterson's at first, 1-2 is outside. And Cueto has thrown a lot of pitches here. 45 pitches already. And he's got 2 outs in the second. Look at. The 2-2. And he got him. So he strikes out Ruggiano. Miami leaves a couple after 2. It's 3-0. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig? You know, we apologize for our audio difficulties there. If we could hear Craig, I'm sure he'd be giving us some insightful antidote. And he'll hold on to it, and we'll get to him in a moment. All right, let's try it again. Here we go. Ready, set, it never happened. Welcome back. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Testing, 3, 2, oh.
Take 2.
It is working. All right, take 2. Go. On a trip as a kid, we asked some of the Marlins on the ball club about your teammate. Which teammate, as you see that drive there, and it's hit right to the guy in left field, that very close to the center fielder we're going to talk about. Which teammate as a kid on a school bus got struck by lightning in middle school? We asked the Marlins. The answer actually is Justin Ruggiano, and he has something to show for it. Ruggiano says after that incident on a school bus, he had his hair cut the next week, and ever since then, see that little white patch there? That has been there, he says, because of the lightning that he was struck with as a youngster. Get on the school bus. That's the story he sticks to, guys. A few guys knew the answer. Not many did, though. But he's doing well. We're glad to report.
Johnny Cueto bunts. Burley pounces, flips to first. I'm just stunned that he was struck by lightning while on a school bus. That's an incredible story.
By the way, you saw how easily Johnny Cueto dropped down that bunt. He leads the league. That's his 16th sacrifice bunt this year.
Brandon Phillips now. Phillips arrives 0 for 1. He's got Ryan Hannigan out there at second base. Miami getting 3 in the first against Cueto. Burley gave up a hit back in the first inning, and he throws a strike to Phillips. Phillips not necessarily your prototypical leadoff guy, unless you like a guy down there that can hit 17 homers and 30 doubles. His on-base percentage at .331, but of the guys that Dusty Baker has to choose from, especially the guys with speed, Phillips probably the best choice.
Well, they've tried a little bit with Drew Stubbs, but Drew Stubbs has struck out almost 150 times, and he just doesn't get on base. So Dusty likes the fact that Phillips is up there. Phillips has more RBIs than any other major league second baseman, 74. Robinson Cano has 72. He's right behind him.
There was a discussion last week potential free agents and where they might land. And one was Michael Bourne, and some had speculated that Cincinnati might be a landing spot because Dusty Baker has always coveted a leadoff guy.
I'll tell you what, there are a number of teams that will covet Michael Bourne, not only as a center fielder, but as that leadoff guy.
A swing and a miss, and Burley on a dead fish changeup gets Brandon Phillips. 4 strikeouts for Burley.
He settled down after that first inning, and boy, great arm action, really fools a quality hitter in Brandon Phillips.
Isn't it amazing how this game has changed even over the last 5 years, where a guy like Michael Bourne, his value has risen. The ability to steal bases, the ability to play gap-to-gap Gold Glove defense in center. Now, those were always attributes that were admired in baseball, but post-steroid, with power numbers dropping, ballparks getting bigger, the necessity for speed, and all of a sudden a little more emphasis on that running game. Into left field, that's a base hit. Charging is Peterson, and that's going to score Hannigan. Wilson Valdez is 2 for 2 against Mark Burley.
Well, the guy who's been around, plays a lot of positions in the infield, and getting a chance with the youngster Zach Cozart on the well, he's not on the disabled list, just unable to play for a while. Should be okay in about a week. But Valdez with that base hit, picking up Ryan Hannigan.
Reds have a couple guys on their roster who have that type of versatility in Valdez and the ancient but effective Miguel Cairo. Votto's second AB. He flied to center his first time up. Takes a strike, and it's 1-1. For Joey Votto, this is 95th game. Ground ball out towards second. Solano flips on over to first. Burley gets the third out, but gives up the first run for the Reds. It's 3-1 Miami. You can participate in Snapshot Sunday, and kids, you get an Emilio Bonifacio jersey wallet courtesy of Fox Sports Florida, and can run the bases after the game in the Diamond Dash. Go to Marlins.com for tickets. We determined in Philadelphia that they never had a Tommy Hutton jersey wallet while he was a Philly, but they did have Tommy Hutton wristband day.
That was a big day for Dusty Baker. If he'd have been around then, he had been in town with the Dodgers, maybe
pocketed a couple of the baby blue road Philly wristbands. Reyes now, he takes outside Giancarlo Stanton and Carlos Lee to face Cueto, who has not looked himself. Here's the 2-0 pitch. At the letters with a fastball. Miami getting 3 runs in the first. Giancarlo Stanton with a 2-run triple. Carlos Lee with a sac fly. Marlins had 2 runners in the second, but Cueto struck out Ruggiano to finish the inning.
Good to see Reyes get a couple of hits last night. Get a hit his first time up tonight. He cooled off a little bit.
His average had dipped to 278, and the base hit has brought it back to 280. And Cueto misses in. Cueto is not afraid to pitch in, much like his hero, Pedro Martinez. He leads the National League in hit batters. He has plunked a dozen. Three and 2. Nice play. Oh my goodness. Who's more excited, him or his buddy? Little roller up third. It's going to roll foul.
Tell you, Jose Reyes was thinking 2 on that. He took a turn around first base.
That's just in case they were standing around and watching it to see if it was going to roll foul.
If it stays on the grass, it stays fair. But as soon as it got off the grass and hit the dirt, the way it was spinning, it was going to go foul. So the veteran Scott Rowland just picked it up after it went to foul territory.
Cueto and Reyes both out of the Dominican Republic. And Reyes pops it up. Rowland is under it, and he makes the catch. Rowland and his 8 gold gloves over there at third base. Tico, the People's Gas, presents you the Central standings. And Dusty Baker and the Reds, an 11-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals trying to hang in there in the wild card right now. The Pirates trying to hang in there in the wild card right now.
Well, I tell you what, Rich, the Pirates just trying to hang in there to have a 500 season. The Pirates today won their game in Chicago, so they're 73 and 71. But they went into that game today 1 game over 500.
Well, that's the wild thing about the wild card is a 500 season has you in that race right now. And Miami can look at that and think what might have been. The Dodgers open play a game back. As you pointed out, Pittsburgh was 3 back, but they'll creep up to 2.5 back. And the Phillies, a game over, 3 back when play starts as well. Stanton blisters that one by Rowland. His second hit, and Giancarlo is 2 for 2.
Well, the Reds held Giancarlo hitless last night, but that's not been the case here this evening. A double that drove in 2, a triple that drove in 2, and now this sharp base hit. You see the topspin, how sharply this ball's hit, and how it gets by the Gold Glover, Scott Rowland.
The Braves, by the way, have a 6-game lead from the 1 wild card position to the 2, which is held tenuously by the Cardinals. And the Cardinals and the Dodgers are about an hour away from starting at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers a game back behind St. Louis. The Phillies trail Houston 3-0. And that's in the top of the third. And I have to check to make sure that that 3 runs has not come on a 3-run homer by Matt Dominguez, who's hit 3 3-run homers in the course of about 10 games. There's your wild card standings. Stanton's at first. A 3-1 ball game. And Lee pops it up. Phillips is there, and he makes the catch. It was Justin Maxwell who hit a 2-run homer. Dominguez just 1 for 1.
He's kind of found a little life in Houston. Maxwell has. So the Astros hitting Kyle Kendrick a lot better than the Marlins have.
Boy, no kidding. Kendrick has won 8 in a row against Miami. Is 10-2 in his career. Dobbs now goes after a fastball and fouls it off. That's one of the hard things about handicapping the rest of the race. Many look at schedules and say, well, this team plays a bunch of losing teams. This team plays contending teams. Sometimes beating the losing teams can prove to be more difficult than it seems.
We were told, too, it's one of the things Cincinnati, though, has done so well this year.
Stanton is running, and the throw is waiting for him.
Wow.
And we told you that Hannigan is a good catch and throw guy, and he just showed you why. As we flip the phone, last night's winning pitcher, Jacob Turner, is the second youngest pitcher in Major League Baseball. Who's the youngest? Youngest pitcher in Major League Baseball.
I wonder if it's somebody we saw. Some young pitchers in Denver we saw. Of course, we didn't see him very long.
Brantley, I think, got clipped by the backswing there. Ludwig asking to see if he's all right. Almost looked like it hit him in the back. Oftentimes catchers get hit in the helmet.
That last inning, by the way, for the Reds, that was the first inning in this series that they had more than one hit. Had 2 hits last inning.
Solano is there to squeeze it. And Ludwig is out number 1 here in the 4th. Mark Burley with a 3-1 lead. And here comes Jay Bruce. All signs point to the Reds getting to the postseason, which would deliver Dusty Baker's team to the promised land, so to speak, for the 2nd time in 3 years. Bruce lines one right center. Stanton off his glove, and it rolls to the warning track, and with the speed of Bruce, he's going to end up at third base. Stanton is still sitting down out in right center field. I'm sure frustrated he didn't get that one.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that sit down was in protest of his frustration. He cuts across, maybe didn't quite take the right route, maybe a little more of an angle toward the fence in right center. The ball may have fooled him a little bit. The ball was hit hard by Bruce. And once it got off Stanton's glove, you knew Bruce would end up at third.
So it's going to go as a triple, and now you've got Rolen. Miami's infield is back, except for Lee, who's even at first.
For Jay Bruce's 5th triple of the year. You would think not as many triples at Great American Ballpark, not really a triples ballpark.
Little tapper, and that's going to score the run, and Rolen is going to beat it out. An RBI infield hit for the 37-year-old Scott Rolen. It seems like he's been in the big leagues forever. Actually, it's only 17 years.
Well, once he hits this little tapper that gets by Burley, there was no play at the plate, no play at first base. And Scott Rolen, who at the age of 37 doesn't get a whole lot of infield hits, he'll take that one.
Now Stubbs. As you pointed out, Stubbs, his biggest hurdle in the big leagues has been strikeouts. He struck out 205 times last year.
There are some, Rich, who think for postseason to get Todd Frazier's bat in the lineup that Dusty Baker should sit Stubbs, move Bruce to center, and get Frazier in the outfield. And who knows, a lot of that depends on where they play, who they open up with. If they were to play San Francisco, big spacious outfield, Dusty would probably keep Stubbs in there.
447 at bats. And Stubbs with 145 strikeouts. Burley comes in, and it's 2-2. Two-time All-American at the University of Texas. A Golden Spikes finalist. Burley misses away. It's 3-2. So the Reds, who saw the Marlins jump to that 3-0 lead in the first, have crept back within a run. Burley has to make sure that he doesn't pick off Carlos Lee in the process at first base.
When Burley's on the mound, if you're first baseman, you have to be alive.
Stubbs fouls it back. Stubbs is, however, he's a tantalizing package of speed, defense, pop. He does have 14 homers. Gorgeous pitch. Change up at the knees on the black. Second time he has caught Stubbs looking. Papa John's Fox Tracks.
Look at that. You're right about gorgeous. Locks him up with a changeup and in a great spot.
Hannigan now And he takes a strike. Hannigan singled in the third. He scored on the Valdez base hit. Andover, Massachusetts. Undrafted. And he went to school down here in Florida at Rollins College.
Over in Central Florida. Though we've talked about Mark Buehrle trying to reach that 200 innings pitched mark for the 12th consecutive year. Back in 07 with the White Sox, he was just over it, 201 innings in 07.
Hannigan yanks one down the left field line. It's deep but curling and foul.
Another thing, Rich, I got looking at with Mark Buehrle, because we always see him make a great play. We talk about his 3 Gold Gloves. It got me thinking, how come he didn't win like 10 or 12? Who was winning Gold Gloves when he was in the American League the years he did not? A couple of guys, Mike Mussina and Kenny Rogers, were Gold Glovers.
Buehrle also winning 3 consecutive Fielding Bible Awards. And if you're unaware of what the Fielding Bible Award is, it's the defensive award given to the best player defensively at each position. And there's only one given out, American National. Buehrle has won 3 of those. Good changeup again, and he strikes out Hannigan. But the Reds get another run and draw within 1. It's 3-2. Sports Florida is brought to you by Nissan. Get to Nissan for the biggest savings under the sun at Nissan's Summer Saving Days. Visit ChooseNissan.com. By Coventry Healthcare of Florida, lighting the way to better health. And by Bennett Auto Supply. Our prices bring you in, and our people bring you back. Well, it's the Marlins and the Reds, a 3-2 ball game, bottom of the 4th. And it's also Tony Perez Day here at the ballpark. So what better day to have Tony Perez?
A great day. We're here with the Cincinnati Reds.
Yes, now
fans, it's just a perfect fit.
Fans got a Tony Perez poster on the way in, and with your former ball club, the Cincinnati Reds, one of your former, but really the place where you made your mark, won your rings, did your damage.
Yeah, it's where I have my good years. Over there too.
Greg Dobbs goes after a fastball and fouls it back.
I got a question. You came up, I was just looking, 65.
Right.
But it took you a couple of years to settle in before you started your normal 2,500 RBI seasons. As a young player, you were learning. Who helped you in those early years, those early mid-'60s with the Reds?
Well, at the minor league, Dave Bristol, one of the former managers of Cincinnati, and he was managing me in minor leagues, and he helped me a lot because I was young and he speak English very well, and he helped me through my minor league career. He managed me in AAA in San Diego. And the first 2 years, 65 and 66, I play against left-handers only.
Were you playing third base or first base?
First base.
First base.
Yeah, I was platooning with Gordy Coleman.
Oh, yeah, big left-handed hitter.
Right.
Here's Donovan Solano. Tony, in that last montage, we just saw one of the World Series highlights, and I've always wanted to ask you this. The Bill Lee Ephus pitch that you hit out for a home run. Were you, A, expecting it, B, was it in the scouting report? Take us through that at bat. That liner into right center field is going to find the wall. Donovan Solano's thinking triple around second, on his way to third, and he is there. A one-out triple for Solano, and that snaps an 0 for 12 for the Marlins second baseman. Tommy, tell us about the triple, and then we'll ask about the Ephus pitch.
Well, I want to talk about the triple, but I want to ask Tony what he thinks of Donovan Solano, having seen him now for a number of games.
Well, I really like him. Since he's been here, he be consistently hitting the ball either way, everywhere. I mean, right center, he put the ball when the pitching in, and the kid really looked good. I think we got a player here for a few years.
That's good. So in the scouting report, was it did they say Bill Lee threw that pitch every once in a while?
Well, he threw it to me once. The first time he threw it to me, I didn't know he has it. And he threw it to me. He embarrassed me because he ball bounced and I swing at it. But that was his mistake because I knew he had it now.
Okay.
I know. I was expecting that pitch in the seventh game, but I knew. I saw what he did. The first one when he stopped there, I was ready to go. I know I'm waiting on it because I know what's coming.
You sure look like you knew it was coming. Infield 10, and here's another young hitter that the Marlins have to be excited about. Tony, Rob Brantley.
Brantley, he's showing us so far he can swing the bat, and that's what we want to see. The rest, I mean, catching behind the plate, he's going to be. He's working on that, and he's going to be better.
Now Solano's at third. Burley is on deck. Infield 10. Brantley doubled in the second. He's hitting 7 straight.
Hey, one more, Bill Lee. When you guys were teammates in Montreal, did he ever bring that up to you? Did he ever talk about that pitch?
No, he never come out with it. But people, other players are kidding around with him, and he say, "Hey, I don't remember that pitch." That's what he said. He was a little crazy.
Oh, he was, yeah.
There's probably a few other things he doesn't remember.
Well, he got hit by a car on the street of Montreal.
2-0 pitch. And Brantley takes down low. Looks like the Reds are being cautious with Brantley because you got Burley on deck.
Got a tough decision if you're Ozzie. If Brantley reaches, Burley hasn't shown he's the best of bunters. So I mean, you could think about a squeeze, and he still may put it on. Well, the Marlins, he's going to think a little harder because Burley isn't the best of bunters.
Here's another variable, though. The Marlins have done the first and third safety squeeze and executed it very well this year. And a lot of it, as Dusty Baker is on his way outbound, a lot of it depends on the runner at third base. And they've got a good one in Donovan Solano in both speed and instincts.
You have part of the ingredients.
Yes.
Dusty, we've been doing that. That's why he went to the mound.
Yeah. That's a good point because he doesn't have anybody warming up in the bullpen, so it's not for any pitcher move.
Tony, you, of course, played when Dusty was an Atlanta Brave on those good Brave teams. You were in the league still when he was with the Dodgers.
Yep. I played against him, and he was a good player. Good player, a smart player, played the game right, and it was tough. I remember one time in L.A. he threw me out to play. Somebody hit the ball to left field, and he threw me out. It was the tying room, scored it from second, and he threw me out.
All right, well, let's see here. Now, as we've learned, the key here for Solano is he can venture as far off third as Scott Rowland lets him. Rowland, the third baseman, if he creeps in, Solano can follow him towards the plate. Cueto has a very good move to first. Burley does square to bunt, and he takes down low. It's 1-0. Rowland, by the way, did not take a step towards the plate. He was anchored at third base.
By the way, we talked about Cueto with 16 sacrifice bunts. Mark Burley has 2.
The residual effect of being in the American League for so long.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
And Cueto can't find the strike zone.
Now, people want to know, I've had a couple people ask me, Rich, about the defense of this play. The best way to try to defend this so you allow Rowland to stay at third is to have a pitcher throw the pitch, really break off to the third baseline, and then the first baseman has to cover the rest of the area between first and the mound. That's about the best way to defend that.
2-0. Burley drops it. Here comes Solano. There's the flip. He is out.
What a play by Cueto. What a great play by Johnny Cueto.
Cueto lunging at him, got him with the glove up high. Wow, that was an athletic play by Cueto. And Solano is out.
There are not a whole lot of pitchers that are going to make this play. Catcher can't make the play. Cueto picks it and then puts the tag up upper body on Solano. Just a great play. And I tell you, a lot of pitchers don't make that play.
And I think he surprised Solano. I don't think Solano saw him coming.
Solano may have thought he was going to flip it out of the glove to the catcher.
As did I. The result is Brantley at second, Burley at first, 2 outs. And here's Peterson.
And how many times, Tony, have you seen that play?
Well, I've seen it before. But now the best about this play, you still have a running and scoring position.
Peterson takes a strike. Cueto showing everyone what type of athlete he is.
Great play, I told you.
Tony, at what point in Cincinnati with the Reds did you feel, okay, this is a good group, this is a good team, that you thought things were going to gel? And maybe not that you win the back-to-back world championships, but at what point did you see this as a real good club?
Well, back in 75. 75, we knew, because 72 we went to the World Series and we lost. But we knew we had that good team, you know, start playing better and better, but not. Well, in 75, 74, 75, we knew we had a good team, a great team.
Peterson staring out at Cueto. Well, they called it the Big Red Machine, and you were one of the key cogs in that engine that made it hum. From 70 through 76, 4 World Series appearances, the back-to-back titles. Sparky Anderson, your skipper.
Yep.
The 2-2. But never a Cy Young Award winner. And when you think about the Big Red Machine, it's all about the hitters. That you don't think about the Gary Nolans or the Jack Billinghams or
the Fred Normans.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got a good pitching staff, but we don't have a dominant. I mean,
pretty good bullpen, though.
Yeah, great bullpen, and the starter was okay, and then we go from there. We score a lot of runs. I mean, we score a lot of runs. We defense. We have a great defense on the field, and we know how to play the game. I mean,
let's see. Yeah, Pedro Borbon, he could pitch every day.
Oh, yeah.
Raleigh Eastwick, Will McEnany.
Yep.
Peterson pops it up.
Guys.
And Valdez calls for it and makes the catch. And the Marlins waste an opportunity. 3-2 Marlins lead it. We'll be back after this sports injury prevention message from Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Marlins win. 7 innings, 2 hits, couple walks, 3 strikeouts. He threw 101 pitches. He certainly gave Miami an edge. You can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beards. Turner watching with Wade LeBlanc on a Saturday night in Miami. Subway 5th on Tony Perez night. And Tony Perez joining us tonight. The night when's the last time you had a poster given? I'm sure many times Reds fans got those, but Marlin fans get a Tony Perez poster tonight.
Yeah, that was very, very sweet. I mean, to have it here. I have it in Cincinnati before. We're never here, and right now, new stadium and everything. That's great.
What's the funniest thing they ever gave away in Cincinnati that had your name on it? Was it simply a jersey or a cap, or did they ever have like a bobblehead?
Yeah, they had bobblehead, and they had the poster too. 1970.
Johnny Cueto bounces to short. Brandon Phillips and Wilson Valdez will follow against Mark Burley in a 1-run Marlin lead in the 5th.
So how many of those years, Tony, was Marty Brenneman there? You get to see the Hall of Fame broadcaster, not too. Marty still on the radio with the Reds?
Oh, yeah, Marty been with us a lot of years. I mean, since the late 60s.
Yeah.
I think it's still, he came up and he went up to the old World Series and think playoff World Series, and he is still here.
You also had a young broadcaster in Cincinnati around those days, Al Michaels.
Al Michaels was there before Marty. Yeah, that was Al Michaels, starting on Cincinnati too.
Top of the order, Brandon Phillips.
All right, you've seen just about every ball game. It's been a tough year, obviously not the kind of year fans were hoping for. Give us some bright spots, some things to look forward to next year with some of the guys that are out there on the field.
Well, I think really Bradley, the catcher. I think Solano, the guys we got later in the year. Robert. He's in center field. I think he been doing great, Rufiano, and that's what we're looking at. And then we got the other guys. We have to fill it up our places. I think third baseman and the outfield. I think we're going to be okay. First base, I don't know what we're going to do, but I think we're going to go okay. We don't have to. I don't think we have to make too many changes. We got some guys that we know they can play next year.
Well, if Solano is the guy that we've seen for the last couple months, he can play second base every day, and Ruggiano has proven that whether you need him in center or left, he can handle that, both defensively and offensively. In the hole, Reyes loads up. In the dirt, Carlos Lee picking it like Tony Perez used to.
You see? I do remember.
Yeah, see, Concepcion gave you bad throws like that once in a while.
Oh, yeah, he did that a lot. Then he stopped bouncing.
Now, was it the AstroTurf that caused Concepcion to start that one-hop throw? He became famous for it, or did he do that even before they had the AstroTurf in?
Well, he hurt his arm. He was his arm. He hurt him, and he lost a lot of. He got a little weak, not strong enough. He lost a lot of power on his arm, and he had to stop bouncing. We come out with that idea.
That's why we have you on Tony Perez Poster Night to find out things like that. Tony, thanks for the visit.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Doggy.
Rick.
All right.
Always a pleasure to have Tony Perez on. 3-2, Miami on top.
In here, and it feels like an 80s night reunion. It's what, Baywatch night here? Is that right?
Baywatch, yay!
Now this is Holly. She's getting married. They're having a bachelorette week here, and you decided to take in a baseball game.
Yeah.
Why?
We've never been to baseball before. We're all the way from London, so we wanted to come and experience what it would be like.
And what, in London they use themes for bachelorettes? So, like, I have my little surfboard with the Baywatch logo. Why Baywatch?
Yeah, I don't know. Just like sexy ladies, Baywatch, like running on the beach. We're in Miami, so we thought, why not? Baywatch.
Good idea. Okay, now now these two, Luisa and Haley, have never seen baseball. I gave them a very quick, here's what the game's about. Rich, you take it, we'll take it back.
Ruggiano hits one to deep center field. That's going to be up against the wall. And Ruggiano has opened up the bottom of the fifth with a double. Now back to our regularly scheduled program, Baywatch.
I thought he might hit it out. I want to give you the home run call there. Now, so we talked briefly about baseball. Look to the right and tell us what you know about baseball now. Some facts.
9 innings.
What?
You get 9 innings.
9 innings.
Yeah.
What else?
3 outs.
3 outs is good. What else?
The team swap over. And
What?
the team swap over.
The teams switch after the 3 out, the half inning.
And that's 1 inning.
9 fielders.
And 9 third, that's not bad. How do you like the game? Do you enjoy it?
It's the thing.
The pitcher? The mound?
Yeah. The mound slopes down.
The mound slopes down. They're very observant, guys. All right. You know, it's funny when you talk to somebody who's never watched a baseball game, it sounds a little difficult to try and explain it to them. But they're having fun here.
Yeah,
I'm going to go on my surfboard.
The Heineken helps, though.
That does help, but I don't think it influenced their knowledge of baseball.
But Craig, get them over to the pool
well,
at
that's
the
what I told them.
Clevelander.
They got to go to the Clevelander.
Yeah.
Will you guys go to the Clevelander?
Liner down the right field line. Reyes is going to score the run.
Keep talking to him, Craig. Keep talking to him. Back-to-back doubles.
Ruggiano scores. Reyes makes it 4-2.
I'll tell you, all Reyes was trying to do was pull a ball to get Ruggiano to third base. And he got a pretty good pitch to hit. He gets out front, see how he gets that top hand involved. He's thinking about just pulling a ball, and he ends up pulling a double down the right field corner.
Here is Giancarlo Stanton. And he fouls it back to the ladies that are here on this bachelorette weekend from England here in Miami. Giancarlo Stanton would be the David Hasselhoff of the Marlins.
Who would Craig be?
I mean, the guy batting now is the David Hasselhoff of baseball. Does that make sense to you?
Good. Think hot. It makes sense. I like that. I'm liking that.
See, they can relate to that.
They like that, yes.
Well, Giancarlo Stanton, 2-run triple, has singled, and Cueto misses in. 4-2 Miami, run across here in the bottom of the 5th.
Marlins have 5 extra base hits tonight. 5 of their 8 hits.
Cueto misses out.
And we talked about how Cueto has struggled here in September, but in June he was 4-1. Bullpen gets busy. He was 4-1 in July, and he was 4-1 in August.
Stan fouls it off. Miami will see the Reds' number 2 tomorrow, Matt Latos, the kid from up the road in Coconut Creek, and Ricky Nolasco, who has been a hot pitcher for the Marlins. That's tomorrow, 12:30 for Marlins Live. Stanton takes down low. It's 3-2. Still 3-2. Stan's sitting on 29 doubles and 34 home runs. Drives that one to right. It's deep, but it's peeling down the line, and it's foul. Stays 3-2.
Of course, Giancarlo, very similar to last year. Last year, 34 home runs, had 30 doubles.
Bangs that one up the middle. Phillips has it and throws on the run to first. And gets the out. Reyes has to hold at second. Nice play by the Gold Glover, Brandon Phillips. The trivia question we had no clue on.
Yeah, I have a feeling it was somebody we saw this year. Crack staff telling us somebody we've talked about many times. Obviously, we don't listen to ourselves.
Tyler Skaggs.
Okay.
Arizona.
Okay. Tyler Skaggs pitched against Jacob Turner in the doubleheader in Arizona.
Skaggs, I believe, pitched last night and was matched up against Matt Cain, and that did not go his way.
But you see, we didn't televise that game, so it was hard for us to come up with Tyler Skaggs.
Lee fouls one out of play.
I came up with a note, Rich, because I'm asked, as I'm sure you are, why didn't you guys televise? And hey, it seems like the Marlins always win when they're not on TV. But I went back and I looked, and in the 12 games that we did not televise this year, the Marlins were 4-8.
Can we use that to our advantage in arbitration?
Possibly.
Oh, one pitch. Almost hit him. Lee ducking out of the way. It's a ball and a strike. We told you that Cueto is not afraid to pitch inside.
You get locked and loaded the way El Caballo does to hit. It's tough to move out of the way a pitch up in that area.
Tough to disengage.
Yeah.
Reyes still at second. And Cueto, who has thrown a whopping 95 pitches. And he's got just one out here in the bottom of the fifth.
This could be his last hitter. Carlos Lee over 300 with runners in scoring position on the year, but as a Marlin, close to 350.
Drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the first, and he has popped out. And again, it's in, and it's 3-1. The Phillies are losing in Houston 3-0.
Wow.
Bottom of the fifth.
I tell you, Houston's playing them tough. They won the first game of that series. Phillies came back and won last night.
Lee drives it left center field. That ball's crushed. That ball is gone. Two-run shot.
Let the Baywatch girls see the home run sculpture. I tell you, you knew Carlos Lee knew how they were trying to pitch him. They were trying to go hard inside. Once Cueto fell behind, he still went with hard stuff. But El Caballo adjusted and crushed it. A big hug for Joey Cora.
Ninth home run of the season. Carlos Lee has driven in 3 of Miami's 6 runs tonight. Pitching change for the Reds. Conine Stairway to Heaven in left center field. Here's a look at it. A Clevelander Pool home run.
fastball. He tried to go in a couple of times and missed. Carlos Lee was ready for that one. 2-run shot, and it knocked Johnny Cueto out of the game. So Tony Cingrani is the new pitcher. And you have to have the feeling, Rich, without question, Cincinnati fans may be getting on edge a little bit, worrying a little bit about their ace, a Cy Young candidate, Johnny Cueto, who now has had 4 consecutive starts where he's not lasted and he's given up a lot of runs.
So the left-hander Cingrani gets Greg Dobbs to open up his night. There's 1 out, bottom of the 5th. Back-to-back doubles by Ruggiano and Reyes after the ground out by Stanton, a 2-run homer by Carlos Lee. 6-2 Miami.
Seeing a left-hander out of that bullpen reminds us of one left-hander we won't see in this series is the young Cuban, the Cuban missile, Aroldis Chapman, who's getting a little time off from some shoulder soreness, but by all indications he's feeling pretty good, and the rest after about a week should do him wonders.
Had a chance to talk to Brian Price, the Reds pitching coach, about Chapman. They played some long toss, and they felt that just at this point of the season, backing him off for about a week or so. He already has said that he feels much better after a couple of days. But that's the combination you need in the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have a frontline starter who gets hot, be it a Kane, a Bumgarner. That one is kicked by Cingrani, and Dobbs ends up at first base. I'm not sure what he did to that baseball.
I'm not sure.
But it popped out, and Dobbs ends up at first.
He was all arms and knees and elbows as he went over to field this thing. He got kind of a funky delivery and kind of a funky fielding position, too.
This will not make the Mark Burley defensive video for pitchers.
You and I talked about at the very beginning of the game about the teams aligning, getting ready for postseason. And it seems like every year there will be one of those teams will get on a roll and get hot. And one of those teams that you expect will be the team to play well will get flat and cold and not play well.
And a lot of that has to do with their starting pitching. Because, as we pointed out, it's one thing to have a great rotation and get to the postseason. It's another thing to get there and that rotation be hot. You know, last year, the funny thing about the Cardinals, they really didn't have a hot rotation last year, but their bullpen was so good, and Tony La Russa was so masterful in using that bullpen. That's a really good move.
That's a great move, and almost got Dobbs. And the Reds right now you don't know if it'll translate into postseason, right now have the best bullpen in baseball.
But Chapman's a big part of that.
Yes.
And right now he's idle.
I mean, they have a versatile left-hander in Sean Marshall who can do a couple of things. He can close, give you a few innings. Jose Arredondo has good stuff. Jonathan Broxton is in their bullpen now.
And Broxton would be the guy that they needed to close the game tonight or tomorrow that probably would get the ball. Solano pops one foul and out of play. Solano has tripled and bounced out. The formula in the postseason is usually a starter or two gets really hot and you have a lights out closer, and that can carry a team a long ways. If it ended right now, the Reds would end up playing the Giants. The Nationals would get the wild card team. They have the best record in the division. There's that funky move.
And that's what also kind of makes you start thinking about the Atlanta Braves. Craig Kimbrell is lights out. And all of a sudden they have one of the, if not the hottest pitcher in the league, in Chris Medlin.
Solano swings and misses.
Chris Medlin had a no decision last night against the Nationals, but struck out 13 in his 7 innings.
Speaking of the Braves, they arrive, and on Wednesday, not only will the Marlins honor Chipper Jones, but it's Jose Reyes bobblehead night. Wednesday at 7:10. That's brought to you by the Dominican Republic Ministry of Tourism. You go to Marlins.com for tickets. Chris Medlin will be pitching on that Wednesday against Josh Johnson. So Wednesday is the headlining night. It's Jose Reyes bobblehead night. The Marlins are going to honor Chipper Jones, and you've got Medlin, the guy that we've been talking about, and Josh Johnson. Of course, you can come out on Monday or Tuesday as well. All 3 games are 7:10 starts.
Rob Brantley in this series has reached base 4 of his 5 plate appearances, either by base hit or walk. And tonight, a double and a walk.
When the Reds got to the postseason in 2010, it was their first postseason since 1995. And they were promptly swept by the Phillies in 2010 in 3 games. And here's the other thing about the Reds. That last year at 79 and 83, that season in 2010, the only winning season for the Reds in the last 11 years. So they're back on track here. Brantley swings and misses. They won 91 games in 2010, and they're certainly on track to blow past that. They're at 87 and 58. Meanwhile, the Braves beat the Nationals 5-4 tonight. Dobbs on his way on the 3-2 pitch. Brantley takes the walk. And now Burley gets to face the lefty.
I'm sure Burley now real excited about facing this left-hander with the delivery he has. Mark Burley with a 6-2 lead right now, just wants to get back out there and throw.
He takes a rip and fouls it off. So the Braves win, and their record improves to 83 and 63. The Nationals are at 89 and 56. If you're the Braves, obviously you'd love to stay out of the play-in game, the wild card game. You'd rather at least assure yourself, obviously, of playing in the division series. But the Nationals' lead, many thought was insurmountable a week ago. Fastball struck him out. And so down goes Burley. Carlos Lee and company makes it 6-2. in Miami. The Reds are here for 3. Miami shut them out last night, and tonight it's 6-2 in the 6th. Mark Burley on the mound, along with Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini. The British ladies over for their bachelorette weekend, and Tommy Hutton. I'm Rich Waltz. Joey Votto bounces out. Mark Burley has handled Votto and most of the Reds tonight. Votto is 0 for 3, and Burley goes after Ryan Ludwig.
It's another guy the Reds certainly, after having had a couple of knee surgeries, want to get back in a nice groove. Is their MVP, Joey Votto.
Ludwig has struck out and popped out.
One thing Mark Burley has done.
Liner to right, Stanton in, and he got it! Giancarlo Stanton sticks the landing and holds on to the baseball.
Yeah, he just made up for that triple that Bruce hit off his glove. It makes a spectacular play there. Has to get the glove extended. And then, boy, look how he brings up his wrist. That's a play early in the year. Jason Worth with the Nationals and broke his thumb on a play just like that. So you have to be real careful. So after he made the catch, kind of lifted it up, brought it up, and completed the landing.
When you watch Stanton on plays like that, for me, all I can think about is that's the football player in him. That's the wide receiver in him. That's the corner in him. That's the high school football player that USC offered. Burley's fastball and a point of contention at home plate. Jay Bruce arguing with Chad Fairchild. Bruce asked for time.
You can't ask for once the pitcher started his windup. He's lucky that wasn't a strike. That would have been strike 3.
Flies that one into center field. And Ruggiano is there, and he makes the catch. Burley goes 1, 2, 3 through the 6th. A luxury-themed coach bringing the biggest Marlin fans to and from Marlins Park. Keep an eye out for your chance to hop aboard the Marlins Fan Express. Jan Lexus resets the ball game. It's the bottom of the 6th inning. Miami has a 6-2 lead. They knocked Johnny Cueto out in the 5th. And they've done it in a variety of ways. Carlos Lee has driven in 3 runs. Giancarlo Stanton has a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs. Tony Cingrani into his 2nd inning relief, and he throws a strike to Brian Peterson. Top of the order, Peterson, Ruggiano, and Reyes. Peterson an 0 for 2 tonight. Cholula hot sauce spotlight player. UC Irvine and studied criminology.
Beautiful area. Irvine, California.
Chatsworth High School. UC Irvine went to the College World Series when Peterson was there. And a high fastball.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
All right.
What's their nickname?
Irvine?
Yeah.
The Anteaters.
Yeah. I believe, you might know this too, isn't that where Jamie Moyer's son, one of his sons, is attending?
Yes. And not this year, but season past, they came with an out of going to the College World Series. Their rivals, one of their rivals, University of California Riverside, of course, is where Rob Brantley played his college ball. That one fouled out of play. Ruggiano, 2 more hits, another double. He's got 22 on the season. And this is game number 86 for him. That to go with 13 homers and 13 stolen bases. It's a fly ball to right center. Bruce is there and he makes the catch. We have a lot of different options on the Coors Light Freeze game because a lot of things have gone on. And we're going to freeze. The safety squeeze. Johnny Cueto, terrific play, and he just gets Donovan Solano before he got to the plate. That may have been the highlight of the night for Cueto. The Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Notice Chad Fairchild, the home plate umpire, just good positioning, peeking right in to get a good look at the play at the plate.
That would have been an interesting play had the catcher been blocking the plate.
And expecting Cueto to flip it to him, yeah.
That would be a play where I suspect the umpire would call the catcher out or call the runner safe because of obstruction. That'd be an interesting call.
Yeah, because you couldn't block the plate without the ball.
Or if the ball wasn't being thrown to you.
Yeah.
Reyes is up there. He's had a nice night. 2 hits. RBI double his last time up, and he fouls it back. So the Braves win 5-4, and everyone's thought that, you know, the Braves are going to be in the wild card, and it might be so, but they're 6.5 back. The Reds' lead over the Cardinals is 11 games. Cardinals and Dodgers are just warming up in Los Angeles. Reyes has his 3rd hit. A line drive single to left. Pirates got a win. They beat the Cubs, as Tommy pointed out. The Pirates trying to keep their nose above 500, and they do. They're 2 games over. Pittsburgh tied with the Phillies. Dusty Baker on his way out to make a pitching change. Jose Arredondo is coming out of the Reds bullpen. We'll introduce him when we return. we check in on the All My Sons Moving and Storage interactive poll question. Which team is going to end up in the World Series from the National League? Is it Washington, Atlanta, Cincinnati, San Francisco, or other? Tommy Hutton, if you had to pick.
I would say the Washington Nationals.
Last week I asked Ozzie Guillen who's the best team in the National League, as you see Jose Arredondo. And Ozzie's reply was, ask me after the Cincinnati series. We haven't seen them all year.
Well, that's a good point. You certainly can't judge the Cincinnati team by what we all saw games 2, 3, and 4 of the season.
Stanton now with 81 runs driven in this year. Reyes is running. Hannigan's throw is right there, and he's out. Brandon Phillips had Reyes go right between the legs. Gives him a hand up. Hannigan has thrown out a pair. Burley with the breaking ball to open up the at-bat for Scott Rowland. He goes after the next pitch and drives it into right. Stanton is there and he makes the catch. And Mark Burley getting into the 7th inning. At the outset of the telecast, we talked about Burley and his quest to get to 200 innings and keep that streak going and move it to 12 consecutive years with 200 or more innings.
And right now looking real good. The other thing he's done this year, I think, as well as any of the other starters, he's taken advantage of this ballpark. And the numbers bear that out. He's 7-5 at home. If he wins tonight, he'll be 8-5. His ERA at home is 3.17. He's 5-7 on the road with an ERA over 4. So I think this is a perfect ballpark for Mark Burley to pitch in because he knows how to take advantage of a spacious outfield.
News out of Los Angeles, not good for Don Mattingly's bunch. Clayton Kershaw scratched and out indefinitely And if the Dodgers are,
well, they've already lost Billingsley for the year.
If the Dodgers are going to get into the postseason, you would think they need a healthy Kershaw to get there. Reyes waits for a hop, bobbles it, and Drew Stubbs can absolutely fly. And he's across first base.
And I think that's exactly why Reyes bobbled it. He tried to rush it because Stubbs was the runner.
The Marlins 4 for 54 pack. Get you 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 Pepsis, 4 bags of chips for just $54. The next 4 for 54 night is on Tuesday, September 18th. Marlins and Braves at 7:10. Individual and group packs available online at marlins.com. So Reyes gets the error, and here is Hannigan. High pop-up. Lee goes back and makes the catch and then drops it. And they'll say no catch. Lee said he fell out of his glove when he was pulling it out. But the first base umpire, Alfonso Marquez, says no catch, and here comes Ozzie Guillen.
Now we see this a lot in a transition of a double play. In this case, Carlos Lee knew that there was a runner at first base who has really good speed. And let's see. There's the catch. It's borderline, but if it happened at second base, it would be called an out.
Which I think differentiates it from a play like that. In the outfield, on a fly ball, and this obviously a pop-up on the infield. In the outfield, on a fly ball, you have to complete the catch, which is different than the transfer play at second base. So if you're in the outfield and you catch the ball and reach in to throw it and it comes out, that's not a catch.
Completing it meaning you have to reach in, have the ball under control in your other hand.
Yes. And Lee's going to get an error on that play. Hannigan hits a fly ball out into right center field. Stanton's had a busy night out there, and he makes the catch.
You realize, Rich, for Carlos Lee, as a Marlin, this is 65th game. That's his first error.
Boy, and it doesn't come on a ground ball or a play at first base. It comes on a pop-up.
Or a poor throw. Yeah.
Which he would argue it was a catch. Here's Todd Frazier now. And Frazier, a guy that certainly has made a nice name for himself, has put himself in the Rookie of the Year discussion, and really has been a godsend, so to speak, for the Reds in the absence of Votto. Toms River, New Jersey. And a terrific player at Rutgers University.
Home of Al Leiter. Toms River, New Jersey.
And Toms River, New Jersey always has the great Little League teams. And yes, Frazier was a member of the Toms River team that won the '98 Little League World Series championship. He was 4 for 4 against Japan in that one. It's a center. Ruggiano is there. And he makes the catch. Burley pitches around the 2 errors. It's 6-2 Miami.
Buster Olney. Guillen says that Olney reported that the Marlins are not playing hard for him, and questioning the Marlins team effort made Guillen a very unhappy guy today.
I said, how dare you saying that? That means you're not watching us. You know, we bring Stramberg twice, Strapper, we play good. We just got beat. Yes, why? Because we've been getting beaten since spring training. We just getting beat. But don't say the team quit on anybody. Because, first of all, those guys, to me, my play is not a quitter. And they play hard. They not play good. You can translate that to that way. We know win game? Yes. We're not. I not deny that.
Guillen said, you want to say my job should be in question or the job of anybody around the ball club? He said, that's fair game. We haven't done what we said we were going to do, which was compete and be in the playoff hunt. But he said, we play hard, and he said, look at our guys. They have to play hard. Most of them are trying to earn a job for next year. He said only two, Stanton and Reyes in the starting lineup, are insured of being in the lineup next year, and that makes a lot of sense. And guys, we watch all these games, and the Marlins haven't won like we all wanted them to, but I totally agree with Ozzie, and I bet you guys do too. It hasn't been because of a lack of effort.
I agree with that. I think in watching, and number one, because of what Craig said, what you and I have talked about, there are a lot of guys out there auditioning for jobs. And you're out there trying to win a job for next year, you're not going to lay down and not going to play your hardest. I think we've seen Stanton play hard since he's come back from the DL. Jose Reyes has played hard all year. Donovan Solano, Justin Ruggiano, Peterson, Dobbs.
What has sunk the Marlins has not been the lack of effort. It's been lack of results and underperforming in a lot of positions. Now, a guy like Ruggiano certainly has overperformed not only expectations, but not many Marlin fans even knew Justin Ruggiano's name. If they did, they were hardcore baseball fans.
Hey, Rich, one thing Ozzie said, he talked about Josh Johnson coming off the injury. He could shut it down if he wanted. He wants to pitch to the end of the season. Mark Burley is going to get the last start, it looks like, at the end of the year because he wants to pitch and get over 200 innings. These guys have played hard throughout, and they want to finish up as strong as possible. Ricky Nolasco has come out and probably pitched his best baseball in the last few weeks.
Carry it into the bullpen. You have guys like Heath Bell who want to finish strong. Steve Cishek wants to continue a strong year. Mike Dunn, Ryan Webb.
Bouncer Valdez loads up and airmails it. Stanton is safe. Votto had the good sense to not even try to make that play because he had a big man in Stanton coming up the line. That had injury written all over it.
Talk about a team that a writer is saying it has laid down, not played hard. Watch Stanton run up the line. Giancarlo going up the line as hard as you can go and forces that poor throw from Valdez to shortstop. And Votto got out of the way. You're right.
Toyota Trend, since he's come off the disabled list on the 7th, he leads the majors with 15 home runs.
A base hit and an error. Now they've changed it.
To what?
Just a straight error.
All right.
2 base error. This pitcher, by the way, J.J. Hoover, is a guy they acquired for Juan Francisco. For Juan Francisco with the Braves, we saw him hit that home run deep into the home run porch. That trade was made right at the beginning of the season, April 1st.
He picked up a save in his first major league save opportunity on Wednesday against the Pirates. Carlos Lee with a chance to drive in another run. And that one bounces up there. Lee's had a busy night. Sacrifice fly in the first. 2-run homer in the 5th. Here's the 2-2. Coors Light cold, hard blast.
I don't know if it was cold, but it was a hard blast by Carlos Lee.
(3-2). He flips it up into the air. Votto makes the catch. And so there's an out here in the 7th. 12:30 start tomorrow for Marlins Live. Matt Latos and Ricky Nolasco.
You and I had a chance to have a nice talk with Matt Latos about the new ballpark, and certainly he's looking forward to pitching here and not deal with the humidity and the heat and possible rain delays.
Dobbs pops one up, and that's fouling out of play. No real big postseason implications in this series in terms of the Reds being knocked out of the race. The one thing that the Reds would like to do, though, is overtake the Washington Nationals for best record in the National League, thus getting them home field advantage. We told you that the Nationals have lost. They're at 89 and 56. The Reds right now at 87 and 58. Dobbs reaches out, scorches that one into right center field. Running it down, though, is Stubbs. Stanton tags and ends up at third base. Good base running by Giancarlo, and here comes Donovan Solano.
Yeah, good base running, good attack by Dobbs, but it's tough to drop one out there and get it in one of the gaps with Drew Stubbs, who covers a lot of ground in center field.
J.J. Hoover. Solano fouls it back. Donovan's triple in the 4th. Snapped an 0 for 12. Solano finishing his first major league season. That fastball misses up. And after a long run in the minor leagues with the St. Louis Cardinals organization, a brilliant spring training that, although it didn't put him on the big club, it opened everybody's eyes, and that paved the way for him to get up here as soon as the Marlins needed a body.
I remember Ozzie Guillen talking about that when he had to tell Donovan Solano he was not on the 25-man roster and was going to go to AAA. But you know, the way he presented it to him, talking about how he opened everybody's eyes in spring training, and he certainly did.
Solano first got to the Cardinals organization in 2005. So this was his 8th year in the minor leagues. Last year in AAA with the Cardinals, hit .284. His on base percentage .336. He hasn't hit a home run in the big leagues. In the minor leagues, in 738 games. He hit 10. And Solano swings and misses. J.J. Hoover cuts through the Marlins in the 7th. On to the 8th. 6-2 Miami. Miami. And the Marlins trying to make it 2 in a row against a team that is full speed ahead, about to win the National League Central.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You look at the division leaders. If the Marlins go on and win this game, they will go to 3-2 against Cincinnati, 5-2 against the Giants, and 9-9 against the Nationals. So 17-13 against the 3 division leaders.
But the Marlins have not done what the Reds have done very well this year.
Great point. The Reds have beaten up on the bad teams. The Cubs, the Astros.
Yeah, the Reds against the Central are 41-26.
By the way, Mark Buehrle, you talk about settling in. He threw 7 pitches in the 6th inning and 11 pitches last inning.
As he gets into the 8th, he gets the top of the order. Brandon Phillips, Wilson Valdez, Joey Votto. Now, Ozzie Guillen would love to see him get to 200 innings, but he also wants to win this ball game. So Mike Dunn is up and ready to go. Buehrle started the night at 180 2/3 innings, and he's added 7 to his total. So if he gets an out here, he's at 188. As we talked about, if in his last 3 starts he just pitched 7 innings in each start, like that's a common thing these days, and it's not. But with Buehrle it is. Then he gets there. Here's the 0-2. Ground ball third. Gil Velasquez at third base.
He snuck in on us. And so you sneak into a game and you get a tricky little play on the first one that comes your way. It's a nice play by Gil Velasquez. Yeah, all of a sudden this 7-inning thing is settling in. A nice 7 innings, 7 shutout innings from Jacob Turner last night.
Gil Velasquez not only is sneaking into the ballgame, but sneaking back into the Marlins clubhouse. The concussion to Donnie Murphy. The Marlins low on position players. Velasquez has been up once before this year. He was at home with the minor league season having been over for a couple of weeks. He gets a phone call and he's in the big leagues. Fastball up and in.
Yeah, that concussion to Donnie Murphy occurring on that play the other day in Philadelphia at third base when Chase Utley came into the bag and looked like Utley's knee caught Murphy on the head.
Wilson Valdez strikes out, and Burley has 2 outs. Here's a look at the odd play, and it doesn't happen initially. It happens after he tries to tag him. Bang.
That back knee, back leg.
Burley misses in to Joey Votto. So Burley has the first 2 outs here in the 8th. Votto is 0 for 3 against him. It seems like every team has a Burley killer, a guy that has hit well against Burley. And the Reds have that guy, but he's not in the starting lineup, and that's Miguel Cairo.
Yeah, I noticed that. Cairo is what, 5 for 12.
And it's usually a guy like that. Willie Bloomquist of the Diamondbacks, the guy that really has hammered Burley in his career.
The last time, by the way, Burley went as long as he has tonight, 7 2/3, was back on July 5th in Milwaukee. Of course, he had a complete game in San Diego and went 8 innings against the Cubs.
Votto inside outs that ball and dumps it down the left field line around first. And Votto a head first slide, and I think he is sliding head first there because of the knee surgery. I don't think he's comfortable sliding feet first right now.
Because this certainly would be a play where you wouldn't institute a head first slide. You have the play in front of you. You can see he's running tentatively on his knees.
He sort of glided right into that.
Kind of glided there.
Ozzie just came out for a brief chat with Burley. Ludwig is the hitter.
You know, for missing the amount of time that he did, for Joey Votto, that's his 38th double of the year. And he missed about 40 games or more.
Yeah, this is game number 95. Burley's pitch count now 105. The Marlins knocking Johnny Cueto out of this ball game in the 5th and putting a dent in his Cy Young resume. And Cueto has had 3 September starts that have not gone well, which doesn't help that resume and may not help Dusty Baker sleep all that well as he heads toward the postseason.
Before this game, Cueto was 0-2 with a 6.55 ERA in his 2 starts in September. Now he's 0-3, and that 6.55 probably went up a little bit.
Reds hitting here in the 8th. 6-2. Miami on top. Warren Henry bringing you the Fox tracks tonight. That ball's hit well. Left field and deep and gone. Burley gives up a 2-run homer with 2 outs in the 8th. And that may be the last guy that he faces tonight. Ludwig hits his 26th of the season. And Ozzie's coming out to get the ball.
That one was on a platter for Ludwig.
A Clevelander pool home run. It cleared the Clevelander. Well, the Reds won't go away with 2 outs. They knock Burley out of the ball game. 6-4 Miami. In Miami tonight, Marlins Park, Mark Buehrle gets 7 2/3 innings, but he gives up a 2-run homer with 2 outs to Ryan Ludwig here in the 8th. And so now the Reds are within 2 at 6-4, and the Marlins will lean on their bullpen. Mike Dunn is the first one out of that pen.
Boy, Mark Buehrle's had a few outings this year where that bullpen's let him down a little bit. So he would love to see Dunn get out of this, get a tough hitter in Jay Bruce.
Ryan Webb, Steve Cishek in the Marlins pen. And Dunn throws what looked like a pretty good pitch. And it counts 1-1. It was right down the middle. So it was a pretty good pitch. Breaking ball. Another good pitch. Velasquez wanders over. Makes sure he doesn't step on the bag and makes the catch. Jay Bruce pops out. Ryan Ludwig pops one out of here. And it's a 2-run game going to the bottom of the 8th. A little closer with a 2-run homer. 6-4, bottom 8. Dusty Baker goes to the bullpen again. Sean Marshall, guy that's been solid in the Reds bullpen, the former Cub.
Talk about a valuable guy to have. Big lefty, can be deceptive at times. Early in the year, they were still trying to decide how they were going to use Aroldis Chapman. He was actually setting up Marshall, who was the closer. Sean Marshall has 9 saves this year, but after Chapman took over, Marshall's role became a little different, but he's really done a nice job in that bullpen. He can give you more than 1 inning, too.
Rob Brantley has walked twice, doubled, and big curveball from Marshall. That's always been part of his repertoire
card.
right
That's
there.
his calling card.
And he throws it again. Brantley was on it, and he fouled it back to the screen. Underway in Arizona, where San Francisco has a 3-1 lead. It's Barry Zito against Wade Miley. Speaking of calling cards and big curveballs, Zito may have the biggest. $27,502 the attendance tonight on a Saturday night in Miami with the Marlins up a couple. Brantley fouls it back. Brantley's old organization. The Tigers won today 5-3. They beat Cleveland. The problem for the Tigers, the White Sox won 5-3. They beat the Twins.
Anibal Sanchez was the winning pitcher for the Tigers today.
He flirted with a no-hitter.
Yeah, he did.
And had a no-hitter into the 7th inning. Big swing and a miss. Brantley going after that curveball. And Marshall gets the strikeout. Austin Kearns will make a special guest appearance here, and he'll be pinch hitting in the pitcher spot. And then it's up to Brian Peterson and the top of the order. As we told you, Atlanta beat the Nationals 5-4.
Always has to be kind of nice for Austin Kearns against his former team, the team that drafted him back in 1998 in the first round.
Remember that it was Kearns and Adam Dunn that were coming up at the same time in the Reds organization. Kearns from across the river.
Born in Lexington, Kentucky. Austin Kearns leading the ball club with 11 pinch hits. He has 11. Greg Dobbs has 10.
Chris Hatcher in the Marlins pen. And Marshall just keeps spinning up curveballs for strikes. 2-2. Full count at 3-2. Yankees win tonight. They beat the Rays 5-3. Baltimore is off to a 2-0 start in Oakland in the bottom of the third. Baltimore and the Yankees dead even when things started tonight. Kearns walks.
It's always one of those things, Rich, when you're in the situation the Orioles are in on the West Coast in Oakland. You start your game knowing what's happened, and they look at the scoreboard and they see that the Yankees won their game. So in order to stay pace and stay tied, they've got to take care of a hot Oakland team.
That reflects the Yankees win. No way to adjust the standings for Baltimore's 2-0 lead. And the Rays are 4 back. So the Rays' wild card hopes dealt a bit of a blow there with the loss to the Yankees. Peterson an 0 for 3 tonight. Marshall the 4th out of the bullpen. Another short start for Johnny Cueto. And he pops it up. Votto is there. And he makes the catch. Kind of wanders right into Kearns. If you're asking why are they giving scores from other pennant races, that's because it's a nice transition into. You can catch all the action of the 2012 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox and TBS. It all begins October 5th with the wild card game on TBS. Ruggiano a couple hits. He's 2 for 4. Kearns at first. Marshall. And Ruggiano swings and misses. Ruggiano's done a nice job against lefties this year. 361. And his average over 300 against right-handers. So think about Ruggiano. All of his splits are impressive.
He's hit over 300 on the road, and he's hit over 300 at home. And I think quietly, we've talked so much about how well he's hit lefties. Quietly, he's maintained a batting average over 300 against righties as well.
Marshall elevates and gets him. Ruggiano strikes out. Marlins will try to protect a 2-run lead in the ninth. It's 6-4 Miami. If you've missed part of the game, you want to see all the highlights, get Jeff Conine's take on everything, hear Craig Minervini, see them in full Technicolor glory in high definition. Look at Niner shaking hands, kissing babies, posing for pictures. That's what you do when you're Jeff Conine. And he's waiting and ready for Marlins Live, presented by Checkers. Steve Cishek, who came in and finished things last night. Not a save situation last night. It was a 4-0 lead and ended up a 4-0 win. Here it's a little different. 2-run ball game. This is a save opportunity. Cishek, who always, when he comes in, has a biblical passage that he keeps in his back pocket. It calms him down, keeps him from getting too excited, too amped up.
It's funny how, especially in a closer role, closers, 99% of them, if not 100%, work on adrenaline. That's why a lot of them have trouble when they are used in a non-save situation. Yet there's a fine line. If that adrenaline gets going too much, then you get out of your rhythm. You don't make the pitches you need to make.
Scott Rowland, Drew Stubbs, and Ryan Hannigan are scheduled. On deck is Xavier Paul. And that would be in Stubbs' spot. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Rowland. And he swings and misses. Hand came off the bat. He came through the zone with just one hand on it. Breaking ball misses outside. That one fouled over the screen, out of play.
So far, Steve Cishek has come in, made good pitches.
Battling Roland, a 17-year veteran in the big leagues. Hooks one on the ground. That's Velasquez at third. Guns it across in time to get the out.
You and I learned a little bit about Steve Cishek when we were in Washington. We got a chance to meet his high school basketball coach.
They were staying at the hotel. They were in town to watch him pitch. And very proud coach.
Pretty much, and pretty much what was great, I thought, he pretty much described the Steve Cishek that we know, that he was the same type of kid in high school.
Certainly not a prospect when he came out of high school, but a guy that was determined to get to the big leagues. Cishek gets a strike. It's 0-1 to Paul. Out of Falmouth, Massachusetts, 25-year-old Steve Cishek. His third year with the Marlins. Ball and a strike. Hannigan is due up next, but Deanna Navarro is in the on-deck circle.
Navarro, a switch hitter, gives Dusty Baker that left-handed bat against Cishek.
I haven't looked it up yet, but I think Deanna Navarro was in a trade that brought Justin Ruggiano from the Dodgers organization to the Rays organization. Good breaking ball. When he
That's a good 2-1 pitch too, by the way.
Against the left-handed hitters, Tommy, when he can finish that breaking ball almost on their back hip.
Yeah. See, that's also a pitch that Xavier Paul is expecting fastball. 2-1. Well, he doesn't want to go 3-1. Going to get a good fastball here. And Cishek didn't give him the heat.
See what he gives him on 2-2.
Now he gets it. And he's late on it.
Fouls it back and out of play. Tom Kohler, A.J. Ramos.
Some guys down there right now just getting some work.
Yeah, yesterday it was Turner for 7, Heath Bell in the 8th, Cishek in the 9th. Marlins, of course, had an off day, and that came after the Wednesday game up in Philly. And in that game, it was Josh Johnson and Ryan Webb. So there's a lot of relievers that haven't worked. And when you're a manager in a game like this, you wait until you get to the very end because you never know if you're going to need them before you let them cut loose and get some work in the bullpen. 2-2. Paul won't go away. Good breaking ball. Cishek strikes him out.
He stayed with that slider again. This time he starts it off the plate. And both times he fooled Xavier Paul.
It's always fascinating in Fox mode to watch that shot of Cishek. 6'5", he's a tall, gangly guy. But with his delivery, he is so far in front of the mound. There's a liner into center field. Ruggiano picks it up, and Dearno Navarro has a base hit. Cishek is so, I mean, his delivery is drop and drive, and he's dropping down. So his release point is so far out in front of him, and his back foot is so far off the pitching rubber. He's not pitching from 60 feet away. It's almost like he's pitching from 54 feet away. Watch this.
And he truly does give a hitter all elbows, and I'm sure he's really hard to pick up. Chris Heisey is the pinch hitter now for Dusty Baker.
And now the Reds, who put 2 on the board in the 8th, bring the tying run to the plate with 2 outs in the 9th. Heisey goes after a breaking ball. Fouls it back. Ball and a strike.
Chris Heisey on the year has done a nice job. 6 for 17 off the bench. Overall, a solid .284 average.
Lines that one foul. Crowd coming to life. 27,000 in Miami tonight. Cishek trying to finish it. And his 1-2 is fouled back. And we'll do it again. Game. Marlins win it. Cishek saves it. Bradley out to hug him. Cishek's 14th save, and Miami has taken the first 2 from the first place Reds. A 4-0 shutout last night, and tonight Mark Buehrle picks up his 13th win. Steve Cishek getting the Dunkin' Donuts save of the game. And the Marlins win it. Win number 65 for the Fish. We'll put a wrap on it when we return.